Google's parent company, Alphabet, has suspended some of its business ties with the Chinese tech giant Huawei, saying it's complying with US government orders. New Huawei smartphones won't have access to Google's Play Store, where users download popular apps such as Gmail and YouTube. It will maintain use of the Android operating system via open source licensing. However, Google won't provide Huawei with any tech support. The US is trying to blacklist the company around the world. Several countries have banned Huawei from being involved in the development of their 5G mobile networks, citing security concerns. Even so, Huawei remains the world's biggest telecommunications equipment and service provider and the second biggest smartphone maker after Samsung. Let's talk to Einar Tangen. He's a political analyst who advises the Chinese government on economic and development issues, joining us from Beijing. Einar, great to have you back here on Aljazeera English. What does this mean for Huawei?
Peter, this is a real setback for Huawei, at least in the short term. There's some indication that they were expecting something along this line and that they may have actually warehoused a whole bunch of chips in anticipation, but those will run out. But it really represents a hard fork between the United States and China, and apparently both, at least the U.S. side, is asking everyone else to take sides.
Because as a company, Huawei, it wasn't even so much coming up on the outside lane. It had overtaken, the god of high-tech stuff. It had overtaken Apple, at least 18 months ago now. And also, if I've got this right, in my mind, it means it's a little bit like if you buy an iPhone or an iPad, you lose the App Store.
Hey, absolutely. The convenience will be gone. You won't be able to use Gmail. And these are not so important within China necessarily, but it will definitely have a very big effect, depending on the workarounds, on Huawei's international market. Basically, this is a very clear attempt to cripple Huawei. It's kind of like in the old days, the U.S., when confronted by Russia over Sputnik going to the moon, they said, we're going to outcompete you. We're going to show you the best and the brightest in what we can do. But today, it seems more about tripping up the competition. We don't have to compete against you if we can cripple you.
How do you think the Chinese might react to this, specifically, not just the company, but the Chinese government? Because the other bit of the backstory is the trade war between Beijing and Washington.
Well, these stories are all united. And basically, we're looking at a landscape where the U.S. and China are, even if there is some sort of temporary truce on the trade war, it's clear that, militarily, the U.S. is going to continue to put ships in the Taiwan Straits and the South China Seas, and that it will continue attacking any kind of progress that China makes on the technology front. So this is going to be a long-term situation in terms of what Beijing can do. Hopefully it won't, but it could quite possibly say that for security reasons, they will be banning Broadcom, Qualcomm, who have also joined on the train with Google, and keep all of those out, make it almost impossible for them to do that. Then this is what I would call a hard fork, where you're really going to see a real change in basically two camps going ahead with their respective technologies.
Might this hard fork, Einar, also impact the Apple machine around the world, because Apple has a lot of stuff going on in China?
Well, literally, you could see Apple's sales plummet. This is one of the other realities of this trade war, is that these types of international stories are going to impact a more and more nationalist China, and they will shy away from buying Apple and other U.S. products. Remember, this is over $350 billion a year market where U.S. companies are selling in China, and that would have disastrous consequences for American businesses, especially on the profit lines.
Einar, thank you.